Hello and welcome to Rising with RLP. I am your host, Tammie, the owner of RLP Holistic Wellness, the practice that is all about helping you achieve your human revolution. And guys, we made it to episode 8. And today, guess what? You're going to hear from our girl, Courtnie from Tucked in Tarot. Courtnie has done so many different things with me. She did We Are the Divine Femme. She's done a podcast, episodes with me, numerous, and hopefully many, many, many more. And hey, Courtnie, how are you
Hi,
doing today?
Andy. I'm good. I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. This morning I've been on one. I've been kind of like just taking my sweet time today.
Same. It has been I don't know if I'm considering it a rest day, but it's definitely a day where I'm like, I need to just not jump out of bed and just go balls to the wall. Like my body's like, you need to calm down just a little bit. Plus, I'm kind of using the excuse that my workout gear is air drying right now because I washed it. I had to do a quick hand wash with it yesterday, but I'm like, I don't have anything to work out in. I'm like, yeah. So I'm gonna do some yoga later on, but it's definitely a moving kind of slow day just to kind of get the mind right.
Dude, I completely understand that. You know that I'm doing my training. So
Mhm.
going through that process of getting the 200-hour yoga training. And man, I use the excuse of, oh, I don't have anything to wear. When in all actuality, I open the drawer and there's tons of stuff there for me to like put on. And I just, taking it slow. I'm with you on the taking it slow today, even though a part of me is like, you need to get going, get
Yeah.
yourself. But you know what? It's one of those things. Freaking give yourself grace.
Yeah, you need to be able to you have to get comfortable with giving yourself that time, and especially with that push and that urgency of go, 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 go. I got to get it done. And if I waste time today, then everything is going to fail. And I have a really good friend. I'm going to call her SJ. And she's always like, you know what? You have built your brand. You've built the company. You have the foundation, but you're just like, you need to take a damn break. You need to go and have some fun. Like you can actually slow down like a day or two during the week, and it's not going to ruin all of your success. So I am taking that advice, and her and I actually had a really amazing conversation about kind of like that very thing where we don't always have to solve all of our problems today, and we were talking about the fight or flight, freeze, bond response, and how we get into that. Okay, well, I don't know what to do, so I feel stuck. And I was explaining to her, I was like, well, maybe that sometimes that's the body's way of telling you to relax. It could be spirit's way of going, hey, we need you just to slow down here a little bit because there's things in the background that we're working on that you don't have any information. You don't have any, you're not privy to, and it's none of your business.
Right? Higher self be like, don't even ask me. Don't even ask me. It's none of your business right now. And it's like, you're me. I'm you. I should know. I should know some of this.
Yeah. And we were talking about that, and we were both giving each other grace and permission. And sometimes, and I know we are like, you don't need anyone else's permission, but sometimes you need to hear it from a trusted source. Be like, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to not have the answers. And I felt so like invested in, and I always feel invested in whenever I talk to her. But yeah, so I always take what she says to heart. And so I think I'm applying it today. So instead of doing like my 45 to an hour and a half minute walk, I'm gonna do some yoga and some Pilates and kind of split it up throughout the day in between my work day. Cause I mean, like my body's like, you need to stretch, you need to kind of move it around a little bit and do something that's a little bit more, maybe graceful, not so intense, especially with the heat. But yeah, slow down. So, like, what did you do this morning? How did you slow down? Who are you taking your time with?
Well, we talked about that. I've been doing my 1 cup of coffee and then like going into my water, right? No, I had 2 cups of coffee this morning. And we've talked about this, that I've been going down the rabbit hole with this improving myself, the getting better, not getting bigger when it comes to the business practice. So for the last 3 days, I have been traveling down the rabbit hole and, doing the thing of, okay, I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm going to wash my face. Okay, quick whore bath. And then I'm going to go back to reading. And so I've been reading, watching videos, because when it comes to the business, so we're in the business of self-improvement, self-transformation. And a lot of the times, like you were talking about, the rush, 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 do it, do it, do it, do this, do this.
Mm-hmm.
We don't notice that we are in this survival mode of building business. So like people are like, oh, you can't do so. Yes, you can. Let me tell you, survival mode of doing your business. This is where you are putting out content that can be half-ass. You are maybe doing the work, but you could do more. You could do better. You know what I mean? And so I've been in that space, like improving myself, making myself better. And in turn, it makes the business better. So that's what I've been doing. And today, it's been one of those, oh, this is what my intention is for what I'm going to do for the business. But higher self's like, no. And it was a smackdown. It's like, no, you're going to study and you are going to just relax. So I have now told myself, I told the husband, because if I don't tell him, then it's not set in stone. I can't trust me with this right now. So I told him, I said, I'm taking this weekend off. So from tomorrow to Saturday evening, I'm taking off, and it's all Tammie time.
Oh, good for you. Because you need all that.
Scary. It's scary.
It won't be when you get that nap in. You'll be just fine.
You're all, yeah, that nap in where you're like sleeping through class.
Oh, don't even worry about that. My group is so laid back, and especially like I don't ever want you to feel bad for like either showing up late or missing like the event. Like it is what it is. It's gonna happen every Saturday. Well, just about every Saturday, at least for the rest of the year. Because your girl's taking a break next year. But
yes.
But the way how I have like my class set up, or it's not even, I guess it kind of is a class, but it's more of like a practice session on being able to read the tarot cards, but it's in a space that is trusted. And then you get to see the other interpretations. And then you can either gauge and go, okay, that's really close to what I have, or I'm getting something a little bit different. And then you have, the support to be like, this is what I see. And people are like, oh shit, I didn't see it that way. So don't feel bad about that. Like, that's totally fine. And if people want to show up late, if they signed up and something happens and they missed it, that's totally fine. Like, I don't have any hard set rules because one, it's on the weekend. Like you need to be able to have that ebb and flow to your routine. And whenever you show up, I'm happy that you're going to be there, but it's not this like, oh, you were tardy 3 times. You're going to get detention. What am I going to do? Ground you? You're an adult.
And see, you know what? I think that's where, like you were saying, to have someone else, yes, we don't need permission from someone else, but when we are in that mindset of where we are like, shame on me, shame on me, shame on me. Mm-hmm. And then you have someone that is a trusted friend. Yeah. Like Courtnie is one of my most trusted friends. And so to hear her say, hey, Tammie, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like that's a big thing for me because I wake up and look at the clock and damn it, not again. Shit. Because I enjoyed it so much. Like if you guys get a chance, check out Tucked in Tarot on Meetup. I'm telling you, the tarot, and they're, like you said, not classes, but like a get together that is so supportive. The community is amazing. And Courtney's got like a lot of different things going on Meetup. You can check out a creator that she has on there, that a practitioner, Blake. Check out Taylor, Laura, myself, and Courtney. And even Logan, who I'm in love with Logan. I am just in love with Logan. And, y'all, it's just a community where people can be themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The only requirement, it seems, is to be your authentic self. And Courtney opens that door, and you find it that with all the people that are in that space, that's what it is. Be your authentic self. Come as you are.
Yeah. And even with it being so like laid back, because I do run into some of my community members that I've known for like 2 years, even before I started Tucked in Tarot. If they show up late, it says, "Oh my God," I'm like, "I'm so sorry, I'm so late." And I'm just kind of like, it's fine. Like, you're living your life. Like, it's cool. But I do see that there is this overemphasis of being overly apologetic for just living your life. And if you're 15 minutes late, even if you show up and there's only 15 minutes left of the group, it's totally fine. The only thing that I ask is that you be respectful and you be cordial, because you'll have people that'll pop in and they're late and they just kind of, they're just quiet until they can kind of figure out what's going on. And if you show up late, I'll redrop the questions and I'll loop you in like, "Hey, we're on question number 2 and this is what we're at, and and I'll give you a minute. Do you have any insight?" And then they flow into the conversation so easily. And it's as if you were already there and a part of the group. And I do like to be able to have that energy, but I am very protective of my group. And I don't, y'all, I really try to prevent like the riffraff from infiltrating. And I do my best. Like, every once in a while we'll have some people who are just not meant for the group, and we will have a conversation, and then we don't see them in the group anymore.
Well, hey, sometimes we all have that naked mind.
Oh, Lord, help me. Yeah, that naked mind will.
I couldn't help myself. I couldn't. You already know this is me being my authentic self.
I know. I'm like, how much of this can I actually say? I mean,
well, actually, I was going to say, Courtney, why don't you tell about, you've had some interesting experiences in the group, you guys. So she's going to let you know, and this is why I said what I said.
Yeah. Well, basically, okay. In a nutshell, I did have an encounter with someone who lives as a nudist in their life, and they were looking for a community outside of their commune, I believe is where they said they grew up. And so they got online looking for people to engage with, and I'm like, all right, that's cool, but I did give them the ground rules, because I understand that in my community, and I understand that there are some people who are not going to be comfortable with seeing another person without any clothes on, especially if they don't know that person, if they aren't intimate with that person. And we also don't know what someone's relationship is like, either with their own body or the naked body of somebody else. And besides, we're a tarot group. Put your clothes on. Put your clothes on. And so I gave them the option. I was like, okay, look, we're not here to judge you. And if you genuinely have an interest in any of the classes, any of the events that we have, and especially if you're interested in tarot, you are more than welcome to come, but you'll either need to come with some clothes on if you want to have your camera on, Or if you choose to show up in your naked, free as a bird, self, that just make sure you have your camera off. Those are my only rules. But if you're here to really engage and learn and play with tarot and get to know some of the people in the community, awesome. But those are my rules. And this person was going on and on and on about how people were judging him and how they only see being a nudist as something sexual. And I'm like, you're the only one bringing this up. And he just kept cutting me off whenever we were trying to discuss it. And it just got to a point where I just was like, listen, I've given you my rules. I've given you my guidelines. I'm not judging you, but I have a way that I require my people to show up, and it's clothed. Okay. I don't care what you have on, as long as it's not anything offensive, but you're not going to show up to my group naked. And if that's what you want to do, I recommend you start your own nudist tarot reading group and you get like-minded people, but we're not doing that here.
Or just turn off the computer.
Or just
turn off the camera.
Or just turn it off. I'm like, if you have input, I want to hear it, but I'm not trying to see your bits. I'm not trying to see that. I don't know you like that, sir. I don't want to. That's too personal. So I was just like, you know what? Just based off this conversation, I don't feel comfortable putting you in a room with any of my other community members, because one, I don't know how this conversation is going to go if I'm not there to watch it. I don't know what you're going to do when I'm not there. So I'm like, you know what? To give you my guidelines, you're obviously having some issues with it. Why don't you go ahead and take some time, think about it. And if you feel like you are able to join and you're able to abide by some of those rules, we are more than happy to have you back. But if you decide, hey, this is not a good fit, it's not a good fit. And so I removed them from my group, put them in the waiting room, and they wrote me back basically saying that I humiliated them, that they don't understand why I didn't want them talking to anyone else in my group. And I just was like, you know what? This is not the group for you. I hope you have a nice day. I'm no longer participating in this conversation. And that was it. Gone, blocked, banned, out of here. I'm very, very protective of my group. And there are rules and guidelines to everything. And I think sometimes people forget about that whenever we are in like spiritual groups or communities. They forget that there are going to be boundaries. And that's like one thing that most people are always talking about when we start doing this stuff. What are your boundaries? Stand firm on your boundaries. But other people who are in the spiritual community, because he was talking about how he was getting into shamanism, he wasn't respecting the one boundary that I had for my group. Mm-hmm. And he was wanting me to make an exception. And when I didn't, he was, quote unquote, humiliated by it. You have to stand firm with those things.
Yes.
And not let people bulldoze over you. And just because we are a spiritual community doesn't mean I'm going to put up with anything that's going to make myself or any of my community members who are regulars and who are supportive and who are there to learn and engage and grow and figure things out for themselves. I'm going to do my best to try not to put them at jeopardy with someone who does not understand or respect boundaries. We just don't do that here.
And see, one thing that I really noticed is that, in the group, it's always very, very, very open and comforting. Mm-hmm. I've come to the class where I've been there from the start, mm-hmm. or I've showed up a little bit behind, and you're like, okay, Tammie, this is where we're at. Do you have any insight? Mm-hmm. And it just flows out and it feels so welcoming. And when we look at the ways, you just had one rule. It's not like you have this list of rules. Mm-hmm. It's the respect others, mm-hmm. be yourself. And if you're going to come to the class, if you want to be in your birthday suit, turn off your camera. If not, put some clothes on. That's mm-hmm. it. All you got to do is put on some clothes. But, like you were talking about, that boundary thing is that they tell people and they say, and I say it to my clients, I know you say it to your client, set your boundaries, be firm in your boundaries. But I don't know if you've had this, is where our clients don't know their boundaries and don't really truly know how to step and put that boundary out there. I know in the beginning, I had no boundaries. I was out here boundaryless, waving it all around. And, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I was. How was it for you? Like, how do you experience, how do you deal with that when it comes to clients doing that? Do you take that
Oh,
grace,
yeah.
soft way?
Yeah.
Saying,
Yeah. Well, and the people that I choose to work with are the people that will book me for readings. I've only really ever had one or two people who were trying to be pushy with my boundaries as far as like time or how many questions I'll answer in a tarot reading. And because like, listen here, if you're gonna book with me, I love you, but don't send me 8 questions in one reading. I'm not doing it that way. You get one question, one, and don't book me just to vent or just to bogart my time just to hear yourself talk. I don't mind having a conversation and getting a better idea, but I did have one person who actually found me on TikTok and they paid for a reading and they paid for like 2 readings at one point. And the second reading, I barely was able to even tell them what I was seeing because they kept interrupting. They wanted to only talk about the person that they were in having a conflict with. And I'm just like, okay, I'm literally here just being like a sounding board. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, your time is up. So we're going to have to go ahead and wrap this. And they had messaged me one Saturday morning, one wanting a reading like that day, like right then and there. Please don't do that to your readers. Like we're people, we have plans. If we have a schedule, if there's a way for you to book and you can see our availability, that's our availability. Please don't rush it. And if you are needing like an emergency reading, make sure you're compensating them for their time. And she was trying to get me to just be on the phone with her. Baby, I'm not doing that for free. And she's like, well, I just don't have the money right now, but I really need someone to talk to. And I'm just like, I was like, honey, we're not friends. You booked me for a service. I empathize and I feel for what you're going through because I've been there. But if you're wanting my time and you're wanting my services, you are going to have to pay me. And I never heard from this person ever again. Now, with some of like the people that I mentor, they themselves are learning to build up boundaries or better boundaries. I'm going to say it that way. They're learning how to build up better boundaries. And our relationship and our dynamic is supportive of that. If they have a question, because I do tell my students, especially the ones that I work one-on-one with, if you have a question, if you need to message me or text me, I'm going to make answering you a priority because you are paying for my services. I'm like, that's part of the program. If you need to talk something through, especially when it comes to some of like the applications or the journal prompts, what have you. And they'll be like, hey, sorry, I don't mean to bother you. And I'm like, you're not bothering me. What do you need? How can I help you? Or if it's changing the date and time, they may be super apologetic. I'm like, no, it's fine. I will do what I can to move it around. And if I can't, they are so open with that. We allow each other to be human.
mm-hmm.
But as we're going through some of like the mentorship, they are building up better boundaries within their own relationships and with their practice. And it's so nice to see. And we always have like a 10-15 minute powwow session where they come back and they tell me, okay, I was able to apply this practice and I had this situation and this is how it applied and this is how it went. And I felt supported or maybe it didn't go this way, but I didn't respond. It's just wonderful to see. So having the business that I have, I don't really run into too many people who want to overstep the boundary. I'm actually finding that I'm running into more people who are building up those better boundaries and are stronger and more assertive. And they also respect me, not only as a mentor or as a reader, but as a fucking human being, as a regular person. And it's really nice. And it's great to have that ebb and flow and that balance. and my relationships finally. But that's also part of my lesson because I started putting up my own boundaries.
Yes. And I understand that. Like I do the forgiveness life coaching, the take your life back one-on-one session.
Mm-hmm.
So I do those sessions, and I feel like in my experience so far, I've only had one or two clients that they don't have the respect for themselves. They don't have the boundaries for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of shite all over
Mm-hmm.
your boundaries, like I've had, and you know what? I can't be mad at them because just like me, we are all a people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had to, when I actually put the boundary up, they were like, oh, well, it offended me. It bothers me at this. And I'm like, okay. And they do the thing of oh, I just want to talk. I just want a friend. I just want to, it's all,
Mm-hmm.
I notice that sometimes in that, in that life coach or tarot reader or medium or any of those things, any of the practices, that there's this fine line.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, now with some of my clients, we do end up becoming friends
Mm-hmm.
because like they just shared their life with me. They shared the deepest, darkest that, they know that I take this with me to the grave. I'm taking it to the grave. And so we end up connecting and end up later on down the line becoming friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I always make sure that I put that out there. Look, hey, in this moment when we are on here, so like I'll only open Google Meet if it's a session. If we are in a messenger, like da da da, if you have a business, a session question or anything, email me.
Mm-hmm.
Have that separation. You can email me. We do our sessions in Google Meet.
Yes.
If it's a personal, like, hey, let's do it, Facebook me, text me or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that sometimes some people don't really realize, hey, there is a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
There is a boundary. And in our relationship, I wear two hats.
Yeah.
I am not only your friend, but I am your life coach.
Mm-hmm.
So as your life coach or as your instructor or whatnot, there are certain things that, guess what? You're like stepping over the boundary. I
Yes.
see what you're doing and it's not cool.
Yes. And I feel like with like especially with like the people that I teach, one of them I've known for about a year and a half, and we both actually technically started off as members of the same group where we were both kind of like on our learning journey. We're like, oh, we're just trying to figure ourselves out. And she was actually the one who came to me, was like, I really want to learn from you. And I'm just like, oh shit, okay, great. But we do have a friendship. But even with that friendship and even with the other person that I teach, we were friends first. But when
Mhm.
they approach me, it is okay, I'm respecting you because in my mind I see you as my mentor. I see you as the person who is guiding me and supporting me. And like
Mhm.
they'll do like, hey, how you doing? Just checking in on you. Things are good. Da, 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 da. Or they'll want to tell me things that are celebratory if they had a success with
Mhm.
something. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. But they never put pressure on me to hop on a Zoom call or to meet them in person or do anything like that. And they really respect the time. And they know that whenever we are doing our Zoom calls and it's time
Mhm.
for teacher mode, they respect it and they get excited about it. And if there is an issue or a problem or concern, or if they do need to vent about something, especially if it is in alignment with what we've been learning,
Mhm.
then I'm able to hold space for it. And it, I think it makes it more sacred when you do have students or clients that really view your time and their sessions with you as something special, because I also see it that way too, which is one reason why I tell them, like, whenever you email me, if there is something that you need more clarity on, your top priority. And they know that, but they don't overstep or abuse it. It is a wonderful, like, num, 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 num. Like, I can't really describe just how delectable it is. Just to feel that
Delicious.
way.
It is delicious when you have, oh my goodness, I love those. And I love how you said delectable. It's so delicious.
Oh,
Like warm caramel on a brownie.
oh my
When
God,
I
yes.
read this description,
It's that
it
mutual
is
respect, because it's not something that is forced. Like, you have to respect me. It's like, I respect you. You respect me. Why is this so easy? Oh,
right.
see, okay. Oh,
I'm like, oh, I want some of that. No, you know what I mean? Like I totally agree with you on that
Mhm.
it is a very delicious thing because then when you have those situations, like what is the best way to describe it? Like in the situations where it has been one of those, like, I'm reaching out to you as my friend, but I want you on the phone. I want to tell you all of my challenges and I don't want to hear about yours. It's like this is not a friend call. This is
Mhm.
a your life coach call.
Yes.
This isn't your friend call. This is a life coach call
Yeah.
because as your friend, then we go back and forth. There's some dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
But then in this just the life coaching call, it's you telling me about what's going on. It's you telling me about your situations because you're upset.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then you get that question of, well, you're my friend and but you're stepping all over that boundary of the friendship.
See, even with my friends, I don't tolerate just someone constantly calling and telling me how shitty their life is or how stressed
Mhm.
they are all the time. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm here to listen. I got friends that have gone through some wicked transitions or that are currently going through really rough transitions. But whenever we talk, that's not the only thing that we talk about. That's not the only thing. And they'll even catch themselves, like the people that I talk to consistently, if they feel like they've been going on for a really long time because they just need to get it out, they just get to a point where they just go, ooh, okay, you know what? I don't want to talk about that anymore. How the hell are you? What's going on with you? Tell me something good. What do you need to get off your chest? And you're just like, okay, there's awareness and I am being seen. And there are people who that I really at one point had a very close relationship to, but I had to kind of I told them, one person in particular, I was like, you only call me to complain about the same thing. And no matter where you go, who you meet, what you do, it is the same cycle. It's the same job. It's the same issue. It's the same, and it's never good. And I'm just like, listen, I love you. And I do enjoy talking to you whenever we aren't talking about this, and this. But every time we start on something new, it goes back to that circle of chaos that you have. And I told him, I was like, listen, please do not pick up your phone and call me if you were going to call me about this situation, this person, or this. If you feel compelled to pick up the phone, you're going to call me on those topics, hang up the phone. But if you were going to call me for something different, something else, something good, something exciting, or even if there is like even a new thing that you're just like, I need to kind of pick your brain on this, I'm here for you. But don't call me if you're going to talk about this. And baby, my phone has not rung in about a year and a half. And I went through a whole period where I was just like, I was just telling people left and right, I was like, you are exhausting me. And I have my own issues. And you know, one thing I also noticed too, people like that, is that they never want to hear about what's going on with you. Like one person, I had one friend who's going on and on and on about their move and buying furniture and doing all this. And I was like, oh my God, that's so exciting. They're showing me pictures. And I'm like, oh, that is so cute. That's awesome. Oh, how exciting. Oh my God, look at that view. Da, 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 da. And I was like, oh my God, I got some good news too. And I started telling them about my business and they immediately changed. And then they just go, oh, everyone just keeps doing that to me. I'm like, doing what? I just don't have the energy to hear about what else is going on in everybody else's life. I'm just so stressed. I'm like, you just spent 45 minutes telling me about all the good stuff that you found at Goodwill for your house and this move and this new job. And I tell you one thing, and now you don't have time? Bet. Okay. We won't be talking anymore. That's fine.
I'm right there with you. I had one of those situations where this person, and like it was very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Call me for all of these things. And then when I call them, they're like, oh my goodness, what you need to do this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? let's end this. Let's just end this. I am good. You are good. We'll just end this.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Guess what? It works out. Shit. It all works out. Everything works out. And, I found that in this journey, you know what I mean? In this journey, you just go through, you transform, and we talk about these things. So listeners, we talk about these things because these things are real things that happen in our lives and in our businesses. And putting those boundaries down are really important, and also too, even with putting boundaries down, respecting other people's boundaries. I know that I myself, I had to learn. I did. I had to learn, my boundaries were all willy-nilly out there flying around, that I didn't respect other people's boundaries at the point in time.
Mm-hmm.
But now I see after many, many years, and even sometimes having to catch myself pulling back, I see that, hey, this is it right here. This is what you got to do. This is where you got to put this focus. This is where you got to respect this person. You respect and you receive respect. It's that back and forth of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you guys, though, thank you so much for listening. But we had one last thing. Hey, Courtnie, even though it's going to be in the comments, let folks know where to find you.
Yeah. So if you are wanting to send me a message directly, you can always go to tuckedintarot.com. That is my website. You can book a reading with me. You can also book some mentoring sessions with me as well. But I also have a contact form that you can reach me. And if you would like to join my meetup group, you just go to meetup.com/tuckedintarot. And you'll find my group and you'll be able to practice tarot. And I'll be launching some tarot classes next year for the group. It's been kind of a long time coming, but you'll also be able to do meditations with Tammie and get dream interpretations with Laura and do astrology with Taylor Marie. And there's all sorts of things that are happening. And it's a fantastic community. So yeah, or honestly, just Google Tucked in Tarot. You can do that too. You'll find all my stuff. It's there. We'll make it easy.
And let me tell you guys, it is an amazing, amazing experience in the meetup groups. I'm telling you, you'll love it. I heard about some crystals and now I'm obsessed. And I wasn't really the crystal person. Also, too, astrology and dreaming. Just come check it out. And again, everyone, thank you for joining us for episode 8 of We're the Divine Femme. And have a beautiful, beautiful night, day. And don't forget to enjoy the coffee, the tea, the water, maybe some popcorn. And have I said it again. But guess what? This is a part of it. This is a part of life. And happy healing.